America is once again standing at a crossroads, a moment where history feels heavy and the future feels uncertain. In Minnesota, the streets are no longer just roads and buildings. They have become a voice filled with anger, fear, pain, and a deep demand to be heard. What began as protests has now grown into something much larger. People came out because they believe justice has been delayed for too long. They came out because silence has never protected them. They came out because when institutions fail, the streets become the last place left to speak. At first, there were chants, signs raised high, hope mixed with frustration. Ordinary people, workers, students, parents, standing together, believing that collective voices could finally make a difference. But as the days passed, the mood changed. Tension grew thicker in the air. Police sirens echoed through the night. Lines were drawn, not just on the streets, but in the hearts of the nation. Minnesota's leaders stepped forward, calling for calm. They asked people to protest peacefully, to step back from violence, to choose restraint over destruction. They spoke about unity, about responsibility, about protecting the community. Their words were careful, their tone steady. But for many, calm felt like a luxury they could no longer afford. Because when trust is broken, words alone are not enough. Then came the message from Washington. Donald Trump escalated the situation by threatening to use the Insurrection Act, a powerful and rarely used law that allows the military to be deployed inside American cities. He framed the protests as a threat to law and order. He warned that force would be used if states failed to regain control. For some, those words sounded like strength. For others, they sounded like a warning from history repeating itself. The idea of soldiers in American streets triggered deep fears. It reminded people of moments when power was used not to protect, but to suppress. When authority spoke louder than accountability. When fear replaced dialogue. On the ground, however, this crisis is not about political speeches or legal powers. It is about real people living real lives. Parents worry every time their children step outside. Immigrant families fear that a single knock on the door could change everything. Young people feel trapped between a future they are promised and a reality they are living. Their anger is not random. It is built from years of feeling ignored, dismissed, and misunderstood. They are not asking for chaos. They are asking for dignity. They are asking for safety. They are asking to be treated as human beings, not threats. As protests grow, America reveals its deep divide. On one side, there are those who believe order must come first, no matter the cost. They see protests as danger, unrest as weakness, and force as the solution. On the other side, there are those who believe justice must come before peace. That without accountability, there can be no real calm. That silence only protects the powerful. And caught between these two sides are ordinary citizens. People who wake up, go to work, raise families, and simply want to live without fear. They're trapped between power and protest, between authority and resistance. History has shown this pattern before. When leaders choose threats over listening, anger grows louder. When people feel invisible, they find ways to be seen. Streets become microphones. Protests become messages written in movement and sound. Every broken window tells a story. Every raised fist carries a memory. Every chant echoes years of frustration. The question America faces right now is not who is right or who is wrong. The question is deeper, heavier, and more uncomfortable. How many times must this cycle repeat? How many protests? How many warnings? How many divided moments before real change begins? Minnesota today is not just a state in crisis. It is a mirror, a reflection of a nation struggling with its identity, its values, and its promises. A reminder that democracy is not just about laws and elections, but about trust between the people and those who lead them. If that trust continues to break, no amount of force will repair it. The world is watching these streets, watching how America responds to anger, watching whether power chooses control or compassion. Watching weather dialogue can still defeat division. This moment will be remembered, not just for the protests, not just for the threats, but for the choices made when the nation stood at the edge. History is watching, and it is taking notes.